I remember that with Vilius whenever we got the dock put in, or where we had the gnome there waiting for us. I The little raft was full, and we would get onto the island, and the boat was packed. Go onto the docks.
Yeah, nobody had the port yet.
Yep. Well, Druid, I don't know if Druids always had it, but Druids at least were able to buy theirs in North Carolina,
I don't
where
think
Wizards.
that was a thing when it first came. I think you actually had to go to the zone to get it.
Well, for Wizards, we had to go to Sky Shrine to get ours.
You had to. Well, like, okay, so you can't. Did they have the ice clad port in Coronas? Because you can't. You have to have your tooth to get to the other one, so you can't go to GD or you know what I mean. So you would have had to be able to buy ice clad in Coronas if you were going to go to Vilius.
I think Iceclad was purchased either in Eden or in Iceclad itself. I can't remember what spells were available to Wizards in Iceclad.
Were those out the first couple weeks of the expansion? Because I remember everybody taking the boat. I don't remember anybody having a port.
I honestly don't remember, because I remember taking the boat myself.
Yeah, I don't think they were out for like the first 2 weeks, I think.
Druids had to buy, or have to buy them at that Point of Growth Tower or whatever. But there is something in Coronas, but I thought it was GD, which even if that came out week 1 and you didn't have your tooth, you'd have to take the boat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, everybody had to take the boat.
Iceclad, you don't need your tooth.
Yeah, but I think
I didn't even learn about where I got my spells until Alakazam actually put it up and told me where to get them, which is Sky Shrine. And that means you have to have Sky Shrine faction.
Or in a Viz. You can get through most of that place in Viz.
Yeah, but it's a merchant inside of Sky Shrine.
Well, I guess you could use a monk to buy it for you. Feign death right behind him.
I remember. I know that I purchased mine though. I had to wait until I got the faction.
The picture of the Velius raft when P99 opened Velius is pretty great. Maybe it was Canark raft. I remember. Canark raft was the one in Butcher Block, leading over to Fiona Vi.
I have nightmares about that boat, dude. I don't want to deal with it.
Thoom has nightmares of that boat on P99 because it was broken for the longest of time.
That's one on P99. That's what I'm talking. I took the Nonal over to Kearns, and I went link dead when I zoned from Butcher Block over, and a druid over there was nice enough to come over and port me to Dreadlands. And then my levitate or something wore off running across Dreadlands, and I died there. So he drugged me to the tunnels and got me a res. It was a nightmare, dude. The guy helped me so much, and that was like I was level 13 or 12 or something. So
it can be rough, especially making.
That's how I knew the server was so nice. You know what I mean? This one dude took all that time, and I was like, "You want some bone chips?" He's like, "No, you're good, dude." Bound me in Fiona Vi, and then I ran over to Kearns Tower by myself.
I think that was one of my fondest memories of a new expansion coming out, was going over to Fill the Bones with a friend of mine. And we just went in there and explored. We just ran through the dungeon that was in there, not the tower, but the one that goes down right next to Fill the Bones. What's that one?
Kasora?
Kasora, there you go. Yeah, we went through that one not knowing what was in there, or once you fell down, you really couldn't get back out. But it was me on my, I think it was my Shadow Knight, and him on his Paladin. And we just kind of wrecked through the zone as best as we could until we got pretty deep. And then we both died, and getting our bodies back was a nightmare. But it was cool because everything was new again. Like, you didn't know where anything was. And
yeah, we went in there on, me and my buddy had a wizard. And we went in there in our 30s on P99, and it was eye-opening scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, being in there. We had a full group, too. We had a cleric, and it was... We all wiped. Then we had to go get our bodies naked. I mean, it was not fun, dude. But we eventually made it down to that I don't know, was it the church or something like that? I forget.
Mm-hmm.
So it ended up being a good time, good story.
Yeah, you only get to do that once. You don't really get to have that unknown experience. Although, for me, thankfully, I got to have it twice. I got to come back to P99 after being gone from EverQuest for years and not remembering where a lot of the stuff was. Some of it was very familiar to me and some of it not so much. Like, your brain can only absorb so much, and over the years, you just kind of forget a little bit here and there. So, there's a few zones coming back to. I was like, oh, man, I don't remember where anything is in here.
Sure, pet broke. She got it. It's getting ready to stun it.
Did you guys have a favorite zone that changed when an expansion came out? Something that became like your new favorite?
Not sure.
You mean that was one way and that changed?
Yeah, like for me, it was Lower Guck. Then it became like Seb.
Oh, I don't know. I always liked Kazakhstan. I always used to spend a lot of time in Kazakhstan on live. And Seb was okay. I don't know.
So I mean, but Kazakhstan was your original one, and then what became your new one?
I think Kale, because we were doing a lot of Kale whenever it came out. I remember as just so absolutely nuts in Kale. We had one side of the arena and we had like 130 people there. The other side of the arena had probably 80 people. And we were just fighting to see who would get the Vindy first.
What about you, Nodal? Did you have one?
Those challenges, Cypher, those are, I mean, are, you know, like where you're competing, they can be fun. Sometimes I think here it's not so much fun, but, you know, remembering them are pretty fun. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was before, but I can remember when I got the Volk's Labyrinth on my Bard on live, and I learned how to pull that zone. I just felt like such an ace or something. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I knew what was going down. I probably learned how to pull there more than anywhere too. You know what I mean? With, you know, pacify and mez pulling and snare pulling and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really fun zone for me on live. I don't know why, but it was.
No, I mean, that's, I didn't spend too much time in Velks, but it seems like because you were playing your Bard, right? Mm-hmm. It seems like every class had that one zone that really did it for him. I know as an enchanter, Nybers tends to enjoy Siren's Grotto more than anything. I think the reason I liked, you know, Lower Guck is because Shadow Knights really shine down there. What were you playing over in Kale on your tune, Cypher?
I was playing a Warrior.
Oh, yeah, dude. That would be pretty massive in Kale.
And what was so amazing about it was that you kept hearing about this, how hard the zone was, and that you need all these people to be able to do it. And you had Vindy, and you're main tanking it, and you just felt like you were powerful because you had all these people behind you supporting you, trying to take them down. That's what I think I missed the most about it, is that the guild that I was in, we were just learning the game as we were going.
Right.
Yeah, if you get a guild where you truly feel like you're all working together towards a big goal that means a lot, you know what I mean? And you're all moving towards that direction, and it makes the accomplishment even better, you know what I mean? So,
especially if you're figuring it out together. Like, you don't really get to do that these days anymore.
I was the first one in our guild to get a Vindy breastplate, so it was kind of pretty cool.
Well, somebody needs to loot that staff. Everybody passed, so any mini mighty mo.
She said nice.
Yeah, give it to the enchanter.
She said she would. That's how time was for my guild when we beat time. Like, we beat it, and some of the higher guilds was like, cool, welcome to 2001 or whatever. Right. I can't remember how they, you know what I mean? Like, boo, boo, you suck. And for us, it was a huge, you know what I mean? Like, it was a huge thing for us, and we all felt so good about it, you know what I mean?
Somebody always has to try to crap on you, though, man. Sucks.
That was a huge fight, or a huge combination of fights to finally beat Quorum at the very end of time.
Well, how many times did it take you? I don't know if you guys rated that or not, or if you remember. How many times did it take you to beat the trials just to get in?
Because you have to do trials are rough.
It took us a long time to get everybody flagged.
What was there, like 6 waves, right? Or 6 rings?
Well, not only do you have to get all the flags to get in the time, but then, okay, you're all in time. You're like, oh, I can't wait.
And then you have to do each section of time, and you have to do it in order.
And then, it's a time limit.
Yeah.
What's time, dude?
Yeah. And if you fail, you gotta come back next week.
Yeah, exactly. We had done it for weeks upon weeks trying to get it beat, and finally, when we got to Quorum, it was like, dude, this was all worth it. I mean, killing all the gods was great, but killing this dragon, I mean, that's... Yeah. You're still in gear. Well, when we killed it, we were still in playing a power gear. So, I mean, we had the best stuff that we could get for playing power, trying to take that dragon on.
You know what?
It was awesome.
It felt like to me more than anything else it was a single player campaign mission for a multiplayer, like their version, because you went through it together. You had to accomplish these things. You had to learn as you went.
Oh God! Sorry, go ahead. I think it was running into lava.
And it was more like a story because you're going through, like, they would even talk you through it too. You know, like the different aspects of the zone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, okay, so you had to do what I could be wrong remembering all this, so correct, but you had to do the trials at to get flagged to get in the time, all the little things, and then you had to, once you're in there, you had to beat the time trial, like 3 or 4 different parts, and then you still had to go around the zone and beat the little mini gods or whatever, 4 or 5 of them. One was a straight up fight, one was an AE, one was a splitting off tank, different strats for each one, and then after all that, then you got a chance to fight this big freaking dragon, you know what I mean, like at the end that probably took you 4 or 5 tries or a month or 2 to figure out how to beat him.
It was like it was like tiers of a quest, tiers of a storyline mission that you were going through.
And you got so much good loot. I mean, I remember one of our monks winning a hammer that came off of one of the gods. And it was like, I remember he was freaking out whenever he saw that drop. And we had a lot of monks in our guild, but he was like our top monk, and he ended up winning it and just coveted that thing. I'm sure if he's still playing he probably still has it in his thing. So how happy he was to get it.
Still making love to it every night.
Nano has the Quorum pet hammer, and then I got the LDON Og that was the pet Og, so I could proc the pet hammer and the pet Og all at once. So it's just like pets as I hit things.
Yeah, I remember getting mine for my warrior, and then also getting one for my rogue. Having little rogue epics fighting with you. That's so awesome because rogue, they have really high decks usually, so you just see proc.
Oh God! Didn't like that.
Wow, they stunned me on the way in, so I wasn't able to taunt.
Well, I sat down too. Like, oh, let me sit down right in front of you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think they did Plains of Power really well when it came to the raid zones. Not much else I liked in Plains of Power, to be honest.
I mean,
a lot of things I didn't actually.
I still love the trials of justice or whatever they were called, where you had the different. I forget if it's 6 or 8 different things that you had to do, and you get the coin or the orbs. And then you do the final turn-in.
Those were the raid zones.
Gives you your flag.
Yeah, but those are raid zones. Like, all the raid zones were spot on. I think they did a fantastic job with those.
Yeah.
What do you think about being able to that expansion, especially a lot of the plains or flagging zones you could just go and XP in? I mean, you really can't go XP in fear. I guess you could if it was broken, but you really can't. And hate and
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, I guess Kale you can, but not really TOV. You know what I mean?
But I think that's the reason those zones are amazing, because the ones that came before, the way they made those hard is just making the entire zone swarm on you. Plane of Fear and Plane of Hate are notorious for that. When you zone into Plane of Hate, you may instantly get the entire zone on you, and there's nothing you can do about it, you know? But when you zoned into Plane of Time or Plane of Innovation, you didn't really have those issues. Like, everybody could kind of form at the entrance, get ready, move in, and if somebody made a mistake, got too close, fell off a cliff or a ledge or a stairway, yeah, bad things would happen. But they were more geared towards challenging you because you knew what you were doing. Like, there was tactics involved.
Man, Plane of Innovation got so many levels, and that's fun.
That was a fun one, dude.
But yeah, I didn't have a problem with the fact that you can go in there and level up and kill stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. But they did reserve the big things for raid forces. Like, you had to have those guys go in there and be part of your stuff.
I remember waiting until I got 62 so I could go into the Bastion of Thunder. That's one of my favorite zones ever.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Bastion of Thunder. Is that the one where you start off like in a little tiny, almost like a garbage heap? Like a little semicircle garbage heap?
You had to cross a bridge and then click on a rock that was like on a waterfall or something like that to get in.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it was past the the little shielded land looking thing, and then you had the broken rock, and it had giants in it, and you had to get their signets or whatever and combine them to be able to go into the next section of the zone.
That is the one that was broken up the northeast, south, and west, right? At the steps?
Yeah.
It's
the one where the AA for the mages, was it mages or enchanters that could charm? And they just destroyed in there because they could charm the elemental, and they would just wreck face in that zone.
That's the permacharm.
Yeah, the permacharm. Yeah.
Dire charm, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's another thing I really enjoyed, is that the fact they added so many more elementals into the game, so you could actually use those spells if you had them.
Oh yeah, the summon spells.
You know, banish summons, and I mean, if you were a cleric, you had those forever, and you never, like, how many zones, how many creatures can you actually use that on? You never once bid that.
Jenna?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But at higher levels, it was nice to be able to, like, I got undead and I got elemental, like I can go and kill these things.
That is one thing that they did do with every single one of the plane of air, plane of water, plane of whatever, fire. Is that all of them had elementals in them. Even, plane of fire, earth, water.
Dude, no one went in a plane of water. The only time you went in a plane of water was the key for plane of time. And then, like, our raid leader legit said, okay, everybody take this in because we're never coming back here after we get this key. And I remember, I think a drum or a lute or something dropped there, and I was excited. I was like, oh, maybe I'll get it. And we didn't get it, and we never went back. So,
but, you're always going to have your favorite zones and the ones that not so favorite.
Yeah. I mean, you like underwater zones, or you're kind of a fan of them. That's one that people really shied away from on POP, man. No one wanted to go plane of water at all.
There was one zone that was technically underwater that I really loved going to on live, and it was the one over in, is it OT? I think it is, right off the shore. You had to swim down into the water and then back up. And when you came in like in a cavern. So the zone itself wasn't underwater, but it was submerged. There was like a pocket of air in there.
Yeah, was it OT or under Lake Wrath? I can't remember.
No,
it was under a lake.
Lake Wrath. It was over next to the fort that drops the Bracer of the Hidden and the spear.
I remember swimming under, and you had to zone in underwater. Yeah. And then...
it starts with a V.
You just want the underwater one... No, Velcator... You're talking about Vexar, not Vexar. Was it Vexar?
To be honest, I can't think of the name.
Talking about underwater.
Yeah, it's
the Blackulous. That's Temple of Vexar.
It was a great zone. I don't remember the name, but yeah, it was a great zone. It had pretty good loot, but the experience down there was insane.
I remember going there whenever it came available too, and that place had so many good items.
Yeah.
But it was so overcrowded.
I just liked it because you couldn't get into the zone unless you had an enduring breath item or a spell, because it was just too long of a swim. And the moment you came up the other side, even picking your head out of the water, if people hadn't cleared the entrance, you'd get attacked immediately. Like, it was dangerous, but...
I remember going there. Can't remember why I went there, but I remember going there.
But I love how they did that. They would throw zones into the old ones and then just not tell anybody where they were at. People would just, like, happen upon these things and they're like, was this in the game? I don't remember this being in the game.
I think Plains of Power was the last expansion I actually was in. I didn't go past that.
Lost Engine of the Norath was pretty good when it first came out.
Oh yeah, I was there for that. It was like great for a week.
I got all my armor with the sockets. I got all my gems with Flowing Thought on them. I was a beast, dude. I had Flowing Thought, I think 15 or 16 on my armor. All the pieces combined.
I did like the way they did that. You had to, I mean, you could go to just like Butcher Block and max yourself out there, but they made it different things at each camp.
Yeah, yeah,
like
Everfrost.
That was cool that they did that, you know?
Everfrost had the gems. Like, you could get the armor at the other ones, but you needed the gems for the Flowing Thought, if you were a cleric or something.
There was Butcher Block, Lesser Fae, Row. Wasn't there Row, or one of the Rows had one?
Yeah, right next to Freeport. Right next to Freeport.
Nuriak had one that I think whenever it was later on or something, but you went into the zone and you were not yourself. You were an animal or something.
I don't remember that one.
It wasn't Lost Dungeons and Norath. It was something else.
I knew they had shrouds later
Depths
on.
of Dark Hollow.
Yeah, Dark Hollow.
Is that the one with the squid face guys?
I remember them from EverQuest 2, but not EverQuest 1.
There were squid face guys in one of them. I can't remember what. Pop.
I think that was about the time I left EQ and went to EQ2, mainly for the fact that my server pretty much died. Like, all my friends, my entire guild, everybody that I knew, they all left. They went to other games, WoW and Star Wars Galaxy.
I really liked Omens of War too. You guys probably didn't like that one, or it was after your Omens of War and Gates of Discord wasn't bad. Omens of War was another great raiding expansion. Gates of Discord raiding was pain in the butt, big time pain in the butt. Everything was hard to get to. All the scripts were really not fun, very tedious. But Omens of War was great scripts. Reminded you of time a little bit. So
right. Well, you could always tell, especially in an MMO, how much time these guys spent developing these zones and how much effort was put into them. Because you get to feel it after a while, you know, after you've been there for a long period of time. Is it just a tank and spank, you know?
I think I might have woke her mob. I stunned it. I might have woke it.
Yeah, I think she's been mezzing it.
I think she mezzed it and I stunned it. Sorry about that. Well, it was kind of like, if you guys never played that one, it's kind of like, there was a place called Miramite Proving Grounds, I think. They called it MPG, but there were 6 trials, and you had to beat all 6 trials to get a key to go to a place called Anguish, and Anguish was the raiding zone. Then once you were in Anguish, it was a lot like time. There was many, like, not gods, but many, bosses. And then there was bigger bosses, and you had to beat all the second tier bosses to get into the room with the main boss. And then, of course, you had to beat him to beat the place. Now, it was instanced, but it was like time locked out if you lost. It was so long, like a week if you won, and it was like 3 days if you lost or something like that. I can't remember. So you could come back 3 days if you failed, and you could have to wait a week if you won.
Yeah, those time lock ones, they started putting those in EverQuest 2 as well. Wasn't really a big fan of those.
Yeah.
It took the competition out, but you did get a penalty if you lost. I almost thought they should have done a week, but either way. You know what I mean? At the time, I didn't want it because I wanted to get back in there and get loot and try the event again. You know what I mean? But looking back on it, it would have been cool if they would have made you wait a week if you lost and a month if you won. You know what I mean? Or something crazy like that.
I don't know if it turned out the same way on live as it was on EQ2, but what we ended up doing for most of the guilds is, yeah, you got locked out for a week on that tune, but you could load into another level 65 or 85 or 100 level tune and go right back into that zone. So people would just change classes and go right back in.
We didn't, or at least my guild didn't do that. We had plenty of targets, you know what I mean, and stuff to do. So because we were doing epic kills for people and other zones and stuff like that. So
I know it really helped out a lot of people who only have so much time to play it. You could really just be like, okay, 6:30, we're gonna go do this. There's no, oh, only if it's up kind of thing. At 6:30, we're going to that zone.
Right.
So in that regard, instances helped them out, but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of what it did to the game.
But there were in that expansion. I mean, that was the one, like the 6 keys or whatever. Those were fought or competitive because if someone went and did it, you had to wait until it was time for it to repop again. Not you couldn't repop it. And then there were mobs like in some of the higher zones that would either be up or down depending on their timers. They still had all that then. So
there was a lot more keys to be gained in Everquest after a certain point. So much so, I remember them actually adding a quest that you had to start in Plane of Knowledge to get the key ring. Later on, I think they just gave you the key ring, but when it first came out, you had to actually do this long, drawn-out quest for it.
Yeah, I remember you had to hail somebody to get the POP key ring or something to start it. I don't know. It was... I'm full mana if anybody needs buffs. Sorry.
Enchantra, I think, was asking for something earlier, but I think you got her.
I got her when she... I hit you early before I hit her, but it was a few minutes before her, so I don't know if yours are good or not.
Now, do you guys like combat when it comes to raids more than you like tinkering or doing things on the side? For one, like EverQuest 2, they really got into you need 1 or 2 tunes, like clicking a jar here or winding up a wheel over here to activate a trap that the mob had to be in at a certain time to counteract maybe like a poison or an area effect that they were going to do. Otherwise, the whole raid force would wipe.
I like that, actually. I missed that because that was those were really fun raids as well. Like Venerable Sather, you had to have like 5 people doing 5 different things for you to be able to survive that fight. And if anyone did anything wrong, everyone would be gone.
Well, the same thing can be said, though, for those that are, like, straight-up tank and spank, or like Avatar of War, right? That one, it's a tough fight. A lot of people have to be doing things right, but it is straight-up combat. Like, there's no weird, wind-up clocks or anything. Like, I liked it. I like both sides of it. I'm just kind of curious, like, where you guys fall on it.
I like both. That one I was talking about, Omen's War, that last mob, there's actually a part where... there's an emote and it says the reflection is shine upon you or something like that, and it would say the name of the person in an emote, and if you didn't click your mask as like called a mirror mask or something to reflect what he was doing, the whole raid would wipe. It would just kill one person, go to the next person, go to the next person. So you had to, if you didn't click it, you're dead. The whole raid was deid.
Right. So making sure everyone's paying attention.
Yeah. And then there were other, I can't remember the expansion it was for. It kind of puts you in the mind of Mistmore, the end zone. Like with monsters in the piano room and stuff, like kind of like Hate kind of a feel. But anyway, there was an event where no one killed anything. It was just all script. And usually a monk or something like that or a rogue would walk with the mob, and you had to hail and say things, and then you had to hand something in that we had killed before, and then that was the second stage. You had to walk with the mob all the way through. And that was it. So, I don't know. That one was kind of weird because I didn't really understand it and do it, but that was that was like the second step to that end zone. So. Right.
What about you, Chuba? Do you have a favorite? Or did you like both of them? You may not even be here.
I didn't even hear the question, dude. I'm trying to take care of something else real quick. What's up?
Like
no, I can wait until you're done. Pizza or popcorn.
I don't know.
Have the little microwave in the same room. Ultimate game room. Actually, I guess the ultimate game room would have the actual popcorn machine in the room.
The thing that I liked with Everquest 2, the way they ended up doing theirs, is that they made sure that through longevity, that there's no way that a single person could kill certain mobs.
No, yeah, you had to have at least 2 or 3 people because somebody had to be clicking some like object, and somebody else had to be rolling up a, you know, whatever it was. There's all these different things that you needed.
Like there was this one zone where you fought this lizard lady person, and if you got cursed, you had to fight off a group that was coming at you from the north. And if you got the other curse, you had to fight people coming from you from the south. And then and then everyone else had to fight the named. So even if one person could solo that name, you still had to have the 2 people.
Right.
And if you didn't have that curse, you couldn't touch any of those mobs that were coming at you. So you had to keep switching out who was the tank. It was pretty interesting, those fights.
Did you ever play the one that was a small instance? It wasn't like a raid one, but a small group instant where you had to kill this person standing in front of a table with potions on them behind them. And I think there was like a red and blue one or something. And depending on what the NPC would say throughout the fight, you had to put the right potion on, and it would lower their hit points dramatically. Like, you could still kill the mob. It would take you like an hour to kill it just trying to do a tank and spank. Or you could use the potions and kill it within like a minute and a half or something with the right group.
I remember it. I just don't remember where it was at. Because I used to trio with what's the evil version of the enchanter?
Beguiler? No, it wasn't Beguiler.
No.
Did you say MacGyver?
Yeah,
what?
MacGyver, dude.
Sorry. I don't remember that being a thing.
You know? Oh, come on, dude. There was always a MacGyver in Everquest.
That would be a cool class, though.
He had his car, Kip, would go around saving people.
It's like, here, let me take this fungi and this Yakisha longsword, and we'll make a thing with a spool of thread.
I don't know. Those are 2 very valuable items. I was thinking more of like, let me take this twig I found on the ground and some ogre earwax or something, and I'll make a nuclear bomb out of it. You can go kill a dragon with it.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know. Bombs? Were there any bombs in Everquest?
The Everquest 2, they did put a few traps or things that you could activate that would set off explosions and do damage to either you or the mobs that are around it. I guess those count as bombs, right? I mean, technically speaking.
Okay.
Never really had any you could like throw at the enemy or anything like that, but...
I remember one now. You talked about events. There was, okay, so I'm reminiscing a lot. I can't even remember what expansion it was, but there was like 4 bells in corners, and then there was a huge bell in the middle, and it would like do the emote of a bell chimes, blah, 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 and you had to run to each bell and kill the mobs as they spawned, like waves of them or whatever. But if you went to the wrong bell, you know what I mean? Like,
is that the one on the docks?
It was inside a building, like up in the air. It was in the sky. I can't remember, man, what expansion that was. It was like a really tall building.
You're talking about EverQuest 1, okay.
Yeah, EverQuest 1. Sorry. I never played EverQuest 2, to be honest, dude. So I don't know much about EverQuest 2.
They paralleled each other pretty heavily. Every time an expansion would come out, you guys be like one expansion ahead of us for the most part, especially when it came to levels. If our level cap was like 90, your level cap would be like 95. But as far as like the actual zones go, fairly
I've seen some of your videos, like you guys would be in like Lava Storm or not. Is it Lava Storm or Everfrost or something? And it looked different. You know what I mean? Looked like really different.
It was the future. You guys were in like way in the past, and we were like way in the future by, I don't remember, something ridiculous, like 10,000 years or something, Cypher, right?
I think so. The moon had blown up. or was destroyed.
Yeah, I do remember something going on with the moon, but that happened on
Like
EverQuest.
500 years, I think, something like that.
And every so
I
often,
forget.
they do like a heritage day, a heritage quest day, and you could go through like these portals, and it would show you what the zones used to look like back on like live.
That's cool.
So it was kind of interesting that way. But yeah, I mean, you guys would get the expansion, and we would get it almost around at the same time. So a lot of really cool zones in the game, man. It sucks that there are a few little tidbits here and there that stop people from getting together on like what makes the best of all of it. You know, trying to create like the ultimate server. I think if they could put up planes of power in like this kind of version of EverQuest, you know, you would have to change a few things because you wouldn't have the hit points or the AC. You wouldn't have the levels either. But if you could change a few little details here and there, I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, they just need to go back to where, you know, where they just, instead of going up to 1,000 HP on things, they go to, you know, like where it only goes up 5 AC on an upgrade and 5 HP, you know what I mean? And that's it. Or 5 saves, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Well, it was
going up so high.
It was that domino effect, man, of them wanting to create something that was better than anything that existed in the game. And I think they started out doing it just fine. You know, it was, oh, this one's 1 more AC, this one's 3 more strength, this one's 4 more strength, 5 more strength. But after, you know, what, how many expansions now? 36? 35?
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever the amount of it is. You know, like adding 2, 3, 4 more, 10 more, 50 more. You know, like it just snowballed to this extreme that now things add like 10,000 stamina and 100,000 strength. And it's crazy. Like you don't need that much. But I don't know how you would add that many expansions and keep it normal unless you made a conscious effort to only add like 1 extra stat point every expansion. And would that really blow people's brains out? Like, would they really be like, oh, I got to get that item if it's only adding 1 extra? I think it would, but I don't think maybe they did.
Well, what they ended up doing with EverQuest 2 is they started out with one kind of way to fight, and they came out with mitigation as being like the top stat.
Yeah, it's like AC.
And then they changed it just recently. Well, not recently because it's been a while now, but they changed it, and then people had to rechange their whole way of gearing themselves because of it.
Which I guess is okay if people are willing to like re-gear themselves in that way, but EverQuest 2 is kind of, unfortunately, already on the way out.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you were doing videos for it probably been about a year now since we've been back there, but me and you were doing videos for it, and almost every single week that we would log on, the servers that we were on had been merged with another server. That had been merged with another server, and another server, another server, to the point that it was dwindled down to maybe a handful of servers, if that. And I'm pretty sure that kept on going. You know, like maybe it's down to 1 or 2 servers now. I don't know. I haven't been back in a while, but it's usually not a good sign when all your servers start getting merged together. It means there's fewer people playing. The company's willing to put less money into maintaining all those servers, and they're not making as much anymore. So I don't wish it any ill will. I hope, you know, it's a great game. I hope it keeps going, but at some point it seems like all MMOs go the same way. They run out of steam. You know, they become too old, and the next MMO takes over. And there's so many MMOs coming out these days, dude. So many. Like, I wouldn't be able to keep up with them even if I wanted to.
The hard part is actually finding good MMOs.
Well, not only a good MMO, but a good MMO community. Like, that can make or break a game.
And one that will actually, I don't know. I feel that there's never going to be, or it's going to be very, very hard for them to make the original EverQuest experience again. Kind of, and not EverQuest specifically, but, you know, any game that you start on as a kid, or you'll never get that quality of experience back, I feel. in the MMOs that have been coming out, because there are just way too many. A lot of them are more pay to win than anything else.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I just hope that they don't do that with Pantheon, and I feel they are going to.
Somebody left a comment on one of my videos when we were kind of talking about this exact same subject, and they mentioned that UA, Ultima Online, was like the founder of like these MMOs, and I think they are right in a lot of ways. Everquest was obviously the first three-dimensional, type of MMO, and it really kind of set a standard, I think, for a lot of the other ones out there. But at that time, even they mentioned it, most of the MMOs coming out were unique. They weren't the same type of cookie-cutter cutout of one another. Each one had their own unique way of leveling. They all had their own unique way of giving you loot, if they gave you loot at all. Own storyline, own combat effectiveness, how the way the combat system worked. When World of Warcraft came out, for better or worse, a lot of them just took on the set of what a lot of people liked. World of Warcraft did extremely well, made a lot of money, and if you were a game company out there, you took notice of that, and you were just like, okay, so that system works, let's kind of copy that as much as possible. And if you look at most of the modern MMOs out there nowadays, they're all very close to one another. Like, the storyline may change, and like the overall environment that you're in may change, but the actual gameplay, the way you level, the way you hurt creatures, the way loot drops, it's pretty standard. And I think the only way you can revitalize the industry as far as MMOs go is to just change it. All of it. Everything needs to be different. Everybody needs to be unique from one another. And that will give people a place to kind of gravitate towards when it comes to a game. So your game stands out from all the other ones. I guess maybe every manufacturer, every game company out there tries to stand out in some way, but they're all hindered by the fact that they want to make money as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
A second.
We'll see if Pantheon goes the same way. I have hope, man. I have hope that they're going to do something really good. They definitely have the knowledge base. Brad McQuaid, he helped make Everquest, Vanguard. A lot of people really enjoy. I wasn't really a player of that. Were you, Nonal? Did you play Vanguard?
No, I have not.
What do you think about Pantheon, man? You have a hope for it? I know a lot of people kind of like give off reservations and they're just not sure yet. Do you think it's going to be good? Like, what are your takes on it?
I'm doing the wait to buy or whatever. You know how they have the three. What is the thing they do now? Buy right away, wait to buy, or wait for it to go on sale or whatever. I forget how they do that on the internet now. That's how they think about things. I'm gonna wait to see how it goes before I put money into it.
So obviously not a whole lot of faith in it because you don't want to like plop down money ahead of time. And I can't blame you. A lot of game companies kind of burn people when it comes to that. But just looking at the game itself, do you like the direction it looks like it's going? Do you kind of think maybe they're going in like a World of Warcraft or maybe just something else?
It looks pretty entertaining. I like the one of the most intriguing things about it is how the elements will take effect, because you don't really see that in a lot of, or at least a lot of MMOs I play. I mean, yeah, lava if you stand on lava, but you don't really see cold or stuff like that. So,
how would you like to see that put into the game? Like, if you got
according to them, it's kind of like you're going to have to train. I don't know, get gear or train things like resistances or something like that, but it sounds like you're always going to have it once you get it. It doesn't sound like something that's going to wear off like a potion or wear out like, it sounds like once you earn it, you'll always have it. So I don't know how they're going to do it. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. So.
Yeah, it seemed to me one of the episodes that I've watched that they had, and again, it's still super early, so maybe they changed the entire system and it's not even close to the way they were showing it before, but the way I saw them doing it was it's like a key. You need like a resistance to wind and cold to get to the next zone. And once you drink the potion and once you put this on, you now, like you said, always have this effect of wind resistance tier 1 and cold resistance tier 1. And now you can pass into the next one. And I was kind of hoping they would go more along the route of what they talked about, which is making weapons very specific to the mobs that you're fighting. So if you're fighting a skeleton, he's not going to be very receptive to slashing. He has no flesh for you to slash. Bones really don't get damage from a sword like that. But if you have a crushing weapon, you're going to do a lot more damage to that mob because it crushes bone. So
Right.
I thought maybe they could do the same thing in respect to cold. If you're in a cold area, everybody takes a little bit extra damage because it's cold. You know, anybody who's ever been in a cold environment knows if you get, you know, flicked in the ear and it's cold outside, that's going to hurt a whole lot more than it is if it's warm outside.
Yeah.
So,
Well, like EverQuest did. I mean, later on, not Velius, but Loose One did the Bane weapons, where you had to get the like when you killed the Emperor and Cicera, you had to get the Bane. I don't know, was it Lizard Bane? I don't know what that was called, but you know what I mean. To kill the snake guys, you had to get the Bane weapons or whatever, or you just weren't effective against him. So they did
Bane
it
of
here.
Sure.
Is that what it was? Bane of Shisser?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Word of Shadow. That's an AE, isn't it?
yeah, it's been dropping like crazy, dude.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know if that was any good or not. Word of Shadow. I'm trying to remember what that is.
Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to do like faction killing with a warrior, then it might be pretty good for like orcs or something. But otherwise,
Well,
you know,
Actually, it's
That's the
pretty good for the Warrens if you want to do faction questing there.
yeah, anytime a
that's,
faction.
that's not the sword. That's the other one. That's the axe.
But I mean,
Anyway.
that's like one specific type of weapon that helps you kill another very specific type of mob. I wanted the elements to be part of the game in the sense that if you're out in the desert, you know, your stamina would be a little lower. You wouldn't be able to run as far because you're sweating a lot. You're using that exhaustion, maybe even heat exhaustion. If you're running too much, you actually start taking damage. You know, just making it more realistic. With all the VR that's coming into effect nowadays, like you got to be able to compete with that in some way. And I think one of the ways you can do that is to add things that even VR is not adding yet.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going down that route.
That axe procs at 35, and it's a 52 to 58 point AE. It's not bad.
I got it on me already, but yeah.
Do you?
You guys just
Yeah,
want
it's not
another
bad.
weapon to snag it. I think that's the fourth time it's dropped tonight.
What axe?
The
The
flesh
flesh.
ripper.
Flesh.
That's a sword. Oh,
It's an
no,
axe.
it's not. Never mind.
It's an axe.
It's two-handed though.
Yeah.
Not the greatest damage or delay, but you know, like I said, faction, not too horrible.
I might pick it up for my Shadow Knight to play with if you guys don't want it.
It's no trade.
Oh, it's no trade. I ain't picking that up. Jeezy
yeah,
Pete's. I was
that's why
thinking
it's
it was
rotted.
not no trade. Ah, that's why. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, always rats. Nobody ever wants that sucker.
Not a bad thing, dude. For AE, if you're soloing,
You know, I mean,
and you got a single pulls. There you go.
I guess it comes down to what you mean by not bad.
slower the weapon, the more it'll proc, right? Faster, or the more it procs.
Or just more dex.
Yeah, that helps too.
What about you, Cypher? Is there any one thing that you're looking at in Pantheon that you're most excited about? We were just talking about this a minute ago, and Nano mentioned the weather effect being in the game that he was looking forward to.
They haven't talked about it yet, but crafting.
Well, I mean, if they haven't talked about it, do you think maybe they're just going to go down the Vanguard? Or do you think they're going to redesign the entire thing and go with some like other new type of crafting system?
I don't know. I hope they go down something different.
So you don't want it to be Vanguard straight up?
No, Vanguard did not have the greatest crafting system.
They have talked a little bit about the items that you get off of the mobs being used in higher tier stuff, so even high levels will still want bone chips and stuff that drops off of the low level monsters. So there's going to be like an economy for like all tiers, you know, like even the low level people can still make a little bit of money off of the high level people.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I hope is that they don't put crafting in as just to craft. I mean, I think crafted equipment should be better than what could be dropped, which means that you have to have skill and you've spent time getting that skill. A lot of games don't work on that premise.
No, they don't. You know what game does that really well? It's Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, you go off,
Yeah.
you kill mobs in the zone. Those mobs have a whatever % chance of dropping certain items off of their loot table as just regular loot. You know, like scales or, you know, paws or leather or whatever it might be. And then use those items to make things for those creatures. Now, would you like to see something like that mixed into it? Because I think that's more realistic. That's kind of what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, but I don't expect that's what they're going to do.
Because if you make it any other way, then basically you're going in there and farming like one very specific item to make like an amazing piece that's better than anything else that drops in that zone, but it's still like a droppable piece. You know, like right now you can go kill a dragon and you can get like a scale. You can turn that scale in. I believe it's for like a cloak, you know? So in essence, you could just drop the cloak. You don't really need the whole quest of just turning in that one piece to get another piece.
Well, the thing I remember hark back to is things like in Star Wars Galaxies. Whenever anyone wanted Mandalorian armor, we had to fight down to the forge to be able to make the armor for them. And there's no reason to take anyone who was an armorer that wasn't max skilled to do it. Because if you can't make the best quality, then there's no reason to spend the lives lost to be able to get it. So I think having it be something where you would have to escort someone to be able to get to a part or get a piece, that's where I'd want to be. But then are you going based off of guild favorites, that kind of thing, and not just being able to roll for the loot? I don't know.
I kind of like the idea. It's almost like what you're talking about right there, but in Sword Art Online, they actually go one step further and say the only people who can see the minerals, the materials that you need to mine in that zone, are people with a certain high level of like blacksmithing or tailoring or something. Like nobody else can even see those objects. So those people have to be part of the group or part of the raid force, and then they can snag those pieces. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that mixed in with the whole Monster Hunter theme of getting things off of the mobs randomly that you could use, or even, you know, making it where it wasn't so random. Like when you kill a mob, if you have, you know, the tailoring skill, you can go up to the dead carcass of that creature and maybe pull a little bit off of it. Maybe that would be taking too much from Monster Hunter, you know, might be going too much into their field. But I've always felt that if a game does something well and it's enjoyed by a lot of people, there's no harm, in my opinion at least, taking that and putting it into your game. Zelda recently did that with their last one. They took the towers, the bird focus, you know, eagle nest things from Assassin's Creed, and they put those in their game. And people loved it, you know, especially since a lot of people who play Nintendo don't tend to get a lot of exposure to more adult-themed video games like Assassin's Creed or Gears of War, you know, more violent type of games.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the first time they've ever seen those. Because it was for one of my older brothers. He plays it with his kids, and he saw that, and I was like, oh yeah, they did that in Assassin's Creed. And he's like, oh wow, that's a great idea. He loved like little things that they added from other games. So
yeah, I just think that whatever they do with crafting, I just hope they do it well, and that's not all store-bought stuff.
Right. I don't know. Monster Hunter is the only one that I can think of where the crafting is the thing. You know, it's more like you don't find items in that game; you make them.
Well, in EverQuest 2, the armor that you made, like the ebony and all that, the handmade stuff, it wasn't the best in the game, but it was really good.
I mean, this game does it kind of when Velius came out, you get like the Black Panther gear. And something I'm finding out just recently is most of the Black Panther gear for my monk is far better than the stuff dropping in Kale. You know, the trade stuff that you actually have to turn in gems for and do that whole long drawn-out quest that most classes kind of just drool over. The Black Panther stuff is better. So in that regard, they
the same with Haze Panther as well.
Right.
for the rogues.
But they didn't do that for all classes. They only did that for a couple of them. So would you be okay with that? With just a few classes being better on some gear, or maybe mixed in there with every class, but only a few pieces?
Oh no, I mean,
because you don't want to shut out the loot altogether from dungeons or raids, right? Because then there's no point
I
in doing
mean,
raids.
Like the Vindicators, breastplate, that kind of stuff. Man, that merits that you're fighting a pretty hard boss to be able to get something like that. But, and why would you make a boss really hard if you're not going to get anything from it at all?
Exactly. But, I mean, you could make it where he drops items you need to go craft if you really wanted to go like the full crafting route.
One of the game ideas that I had a while back was that everything in the game was crafted. There was nothing that wasn't crafted, and everything that dropped from mobs was only things that was logically dropped from mobs, like skin, bone, that kind of stuff.
So
monster. And that was back. Well, that was back in 1992 is whenever I came up with that idea.
No, I'm just like, there's other games that do it, but that one is something that you can grab hold of as for people who are watching, or you yourself have seen that one. You know, that system is a system in place that works.
Yeah.
I mean, World of Warcraft, I think, did a little bit of that. If you were playing a skinner, you know, you could go out there, you could actually skin certain animals. It had to be animals. It couldn't be, like, actually humanoid people. But like, if you kill the deer, or you kill the lion, or a panther, you know, you could skin those and possibly get loot off of them. Now, would you like to see it like that? Where you have to have that skill set to do it? Or do you want just like it randomly dropping for everybody, whether they have the skill set or not?
Well, the thing about the game design that I had is that you were fighting as a guild to be able to get loot. Actually, you were fighting as a nation to be able to get items. And by you killing or being a part of killing one of those monsters that drop like really rare, really powerful items, you got these points, and those points go towards being able to buy equipment. And if you were part of a lot of events, you get a lot of points, so you're able to buy those things. But you also had to had equipment before that, so that you could afford, so that you could be a part of those events. And based off of your equipment was based on what equipment you could buy or your skill in that equipment. But again, 1992, this is whenever I was getting tired of all of the, I was getting tired of all the MMOs. So I was just thinking, and the main premise is that it was 4 nations that were fighting against each other, but it took a raid to be able to even get out of your own nation because of how hard the mobs were.
Well, it sounded like you were thinking of what everybody else was thinking. They just wanted something unique. You know, they were tired of all the cookie-cutter cutouts of MMOs that were coming out. Mainly all dressed as WoW. Like, that's what all the games started to end up being. Even Everquest decided, hey, let's go down the WoW format and do its thing over there, so...
But the thing about my game is that it was coming from somebody who doesn't know how to code.
Right.
Someone who doesn't know how to do any of the stuff that makes a game. So it's more just me coming up with ideas than anything else.
That's probably the best person to come up with ideas, because somebody who does know how to code will come up with an idea and then be like, I don't want to do that, because I can already think of like how big of a nightmare it would be to code all that and do all the, you know, the work needed to make sure that system actually works in the game. But somebody who doesn't know that would be like, wouldn't it be cool to throw that in the game? And they're like, no, I hate you, stop it. So, but the players would love it, I'm sure. I don't know, it's a fine line too, because you got to remember who you're selling the game for. Like, I like the premise behind Monster Hunter. What about you, Donald? Have you seen that game? Have you played it at all, or no?
I think he's AFK.
Yeah, he might have fallen asleep on this, actually. He's eating all that ice cream right now, so that's what's going on. But yeah, I was going to pick his brain a little bit, find out if he was a fan of it, because some people out there, they may not like crafting. I mean, some games, crafting sucks so bad. If you ask people who play that game, they'd be like, oh, no, I hate crafting. But they may actually be an aversion to crafting, period.
The one thing I haven't seen anything of Monster Hunter World, and the only time I ever played anything Monster Hunter was on a PSP, and I didn't like it as much as the person that was allowing me to play his PSP liked it. I just didn't like the design of the game, but I did see a small peek of a trailer where a guy was like scaling down a mountain trying to get to where a dragon was supposedly to spawn.
And the creatures
But
move
other
around.
than that, I have nothing else.
Yeah,
I know nothing else about that game.
I've been watching a lot of videos for it lately. It looks really cool. The creatures move around in this one, so you have to track them, and they don't stay in the same spot. The creatures have the ability. I'm coming back. The creatures have the ability to, you know, get in fights with one another. They can get stuck on traps and things of that sort. The main thing on that one, though, I think, is it's a little grindy from what I've seen people do, because you can't specify what you want to get out of a creature. You go in there, you try to get something off of it. It could be a scale, it could be a tooth, it could be, you know, a tail, whatever they feel like giving you. And if that's not the item you need, then, you know, tough cookies, come back later and do it again. And so you'll have people who just go and, you know, farm that same mob for hours, sometimes days, trying to get that last little scale that they need.
Yeah.
So it's grindy in that respect, because it's not really about levels, it's about your armor. It's about what weapons you're using.
And it's a multiplayer game, but the only thing I've heard are people playing solo games.
Yeah, because you don't have to play with multiplayer, and you don't have to share your loot if you're not playing multiplayer.
Yeah.
And it's only multiplayer-ish, because you only get, I think, up to 4 players in a group, including yourself, so it's like 3 other players with you.
I mean, I'd like to play that game.
So would I, but it does definitely seem grindy.
But I don't think I'd want to play it solo.
I don't like playing any game solo if I can help it.
Yeah.
Wow, we are just getting like the worst loot tonight.
I'll take that shield.
No, I don't want the shield. Have you seen Monster Hunter, Noddle?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it here and there on, you know, the YouTubes or the Twitches or whatever.
What do you think? Because me and Cypher have been talking about the crafting in other video games. What do you think about the crafting in Monster Hunter versus, say, crafting in like EverQuest or even World of Warcraft, since you play that one too, right?
You have to craft that stuff, right? Like,
yeah, there's no other
World of Warcraft. You got to do it to get to the next mob or whatever, right? Or next level or however you want to say it.
But it all comes
Monster Hunter.
It all comes off of the enemies. Like you kill a lizard, you skin the lizard, you get like scales, you get teeth, you get whatever, and then you can go back and you make a plethora of sweaters or. You can make
sweaters?
Yeah, you know.
Tell me, do you know what a plethora is?
No, Pop.
But yeah, you can make just tons and tons of different items out of it. It doesn't necessarily have to go into boots or pants or gloves. Like it gives you a lot of variety off of those items. But it's all made from creature or stuff that you make from the fights that you get.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know
that.
I don't know much about the Monster Hunter. You know.
But does that sound like something that would appeal to you, or do you like more of like the EverQuest style where, yeah, you find a few pieces here and there off of certain mobs that make sense, like spiders will drop silk, and then you go off and buy like the stone bricks?
It's cool that you have to get them off of the mob you kill. You know what I mean? To do it, that rather than like I got my crafting up in DAOC, the Utgard server, so quick in Alchemy, but everything was like just run over and buy it from the vendor so far, and I'm like 160 something, or no, wait, I think it goes to 500. I think I'm like at 390. I forget. Anyway, I'm like 3/4 the way maxed, and all I've been doing is running back and forth to the vendor. You know what I mean? Spending money. So that gets boring after a while. You know what I mean? Not that I want it to be harder, but doesn't make sense either. So it's kind of cool that you have to go kill something to get what you need.
Right. So do you want to see, because we were talking about like with Pantheon, and Chupa, since you're back, maybe you can weigh in on this as well. Do you like it where the stuff that you need for crafting is either in those zones, like on the walls, like World of Warcraft did that, where if you went to a dungeon, you could find like nodes there on the wall that you could mine to make stuff, or maybe the creatures will drop, like, you know, dragon scales, and then you have to go make something with that dragon scale. Is that something you like, or do you like everything that the creature drops to be used in crafting?
And not everything. I think a mixture of both is more realistic because you still need certain materials from nature, right?
From like the plants and stuff
Be
you're
it,
talking about, like
be it
fibers
wood or fibers, whatever the case is, and then bones and stuff like that from creatures.
And like
So
the
a mixture of
stronger the
both isn't
bones
bad.
are, like the stronger the weapon would be, kind of thing.
Possibly, yeah. EQ is not EQ. I'm sorry. World of Warcraft is kind of the same way. You'd have mining or tailoring stuff would fall off of like humanoid creatures, skinning off of beasts or dragons.
And did you like the crafting system in World of Warcraft? Did you think it was on par where it should have been, or do you think they could have improved it a little bit?
It's different than other games. It's not so. Some of them aren't as grindy, I guess you could say.
Is it one thing that Cypher was saying is he wanted the crafting gear to be either on par with the items dropped in dungeons or better than. Do you feel that they could have done a system like that with the skill set of World of Warcraft, or do you think like it's not really set up that way?
Definitely in vanilla, there were certain items from certain trade skills, not all of them, granted, that were better than what you would get in a dungeon, just because they might have a proc on it or something like that, or the stats are just that good. But I don't think one or the other is the way to go. You've got to blend it somehow, because some people are totally into crafting and some people are just into grinding in-game stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess the combination of that would be that if you get something that is for crafting that you don't need, you could then sell it to somebody and make a little bit of money.
Like WoW, a lot of the stuff in WoW, say if you do smithing and you went down the hammersmith line in vanilla, the end weapons were no trade.
Oh, okay. What do you like the idea though? When you go to certain zones, only people who have that skill set can see those materials or harvest those materials. You know, like a blacksmith going to a dungeon is the only one who can mine ore of that tier, or maybe somebody who is doing tailoring is the only one that can skin that animal and get those resources, or do you just want that animal to drop those resources, period?
So like, skinning and mining, you had to be a certain level in order to gather those resources. Tailoring, the cloth drops for everybody no matter what, because the cloth is also used like in first aid.
Well, I mean, that's how it worked in WoW, but do you like that system that way, or do you like it where...
I didn't mind it. I liked, because it made sense that certain things, just dropped and other things would take a higher skill to get, because, you need to cultivate that ore and mold it down into bars to be used later on.
Right.
Smelt them and stuff like that. So everybody could see it, but only the person with the skills could actually, harvest it.
I'll tell you from my experience from Everquest when I was, in live, I did a lot of like rock hopper farming to sell the skins to people who I wouldn't use them, but I would sell them, and it would be a way for me to buy my songs or gear, or you know what I mean, or whatever. And
the pristine hides.
I would hate to think that people couldn't build an economy around that, because a lot of crafters, once they start making money or selling their wares, they don't want to go out and farm the skins or the hides or the wood or whatever it is they're doing. They just would rather just buy them, off of people who don't mind going to farming.
One thing WoW and EQ did different as well is in EQ you can raise certain trade skills from level 1. You can max them out. In WoW, there were level speed bumps. Basically, you had to be like level 35 to get your artisan training, or level 50 to get your master training, whatever the case was. So it's a little different.
Right.
But I do like in these new MMO or one-player games or whatever you want to call them, even Minecraft. I mean, I know that you can harvest a tree standing there or a rock standing there. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of cool. That's kind of a cool concept. You know what I mean? That you could be interactive with the environment more than just kill a mob and get the skin. You know what I mean? You can actually take a tree out. You know what I mean? Or a rock out.
I do like that aspect too, of like the whole world being something you can grab. The only downside I've seen to it is there are, like you said, some people who love crafting and some people who don't. But there are entire games that have been built around doing nothing but crafting, and I have yet to see one game out there that really lets those players join a adventuring world where they don't have to go on an adventure. You know, like all they do is craft, and they enjoy it.
Now that one game I was talking about, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, it's not RMT, that Crowfall, they actually have characters that you make as crafters, and they don't go out on sieges because it's PvP. They don't go out on PvP. It's some PvE. You don't go on PvE. You just make stuff. You make weapons. You make armor. And as a matter of fact, there's no droppable armor and weapons. It's all player made. So, like, if you want the best armor and weapons for your raid to go kill the other guild, siege the other city, you have to have people who make armor and weapons.
Now, when you say that they don't, does that mean that they can't, or they just wouldn't because that's not the part of the game that they enjoy?
I would assume they'd have to have another character that is, like, trained in fighting and stuff. You know what I mean?
You can't be a blacksmith like 85 and then be like a warrior level 20 just because you doesn't go out very much.
It's all new to me, like I said, but that's the way I'm understanding it. Is if you're a creator and you're a creator, you know what I mean?
Isn't that kind of like how Albion Online does it?
Not really. You can be a fighter and a crafter. You would just have to do equal amount of work in both, and it would take forever to do it because crafting takes a long time to level up. Just like
you wouldn't be able to specialize as quickly if you split your time and your resources.
Right, but you could eventually.
Or maybe the crafters go out and all they do is like build the catapults and stuff. You know what I mean? Because that would be crafting.
Yeah, because in Albion, what they do is they'll have people that are like master gatherers or whatever, and they'll have other people going with them to protect them.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a 3-tier system in that regard as well. Actually, more than 3 tiers, but you had a whole skill set in gathering, and each different resource required a different skill set of gathering. So, like if you were, taking down rocks, minerals, that was one type, and you leveled it up the more you did that type of resource. If you were doing cotton, you got a different type of skill set in that alone, and you leveled that one up. And then you also had the other side of taking that cotton or taking those minerals and making tailoring out of it or doing blacksmithing out of it. And like that was another skill set you had to level up from level 1, and it took just as long as leveling up in this game, like just actual experience-wise, as it was in the trade skills. So it was something that people just specialized in doing trade skills more than they did anything else, but they had the option. Like if later down the road they got tired of trade skills, they could go out and do, whatever.
I'm assuming that you can make 2 characters, but then again, this is also a world where after so long, there's seasons, so there's, it's winter's coming. You'd love that part, dude. I know you would love that part. But there's spring, summer, fall, and winter, and the way they're doing it is the progression of monsters get harder and they attack more. You know what I mean? As it gets closer to winter, and winter it's all out. You know what I mean? And it gets harder to siege each other's fortresses and stuff, or more important, however you want to say that. But anyway, then it's wiped clean. So if you wanted to play, I don't know what it would be, if it'd be 3 months or 6 months. I don't know what that would run. But let's just say you were a creator and you didn't like it, and you get wiped clean, you could be a fighter the next time. You know what I mean? And be in the same guild, so to speak.
You gotta go AFK, guys. Be right back.
It's very intriguing to me, this game, and that's why I talk about it a lot. But I am not down for the whole VIP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I've heard so far. But you got to remember this too. There'll probably be, let's say that this is a world, and the people create the world. People create the fortresses. People create the shops. People create the roads. Is how they're selling this or describing it. But let's say this. Let's say there's 3 guilds, okay, 3 factions, and let's say there's 3 guilds in the one world you're in. There's going to be VIP in every one of them. You know what I mean? And that if you're not a VIP player, you don't want to pay the extra to play. You might be paying, but you don't want to pay the extra to play. They're going to recruit you anyway, maybe because of, they need you. You know what I mean? Numbers or whatever. So, it's kind of where do you lie with what you want to do out of the game? Where do you lie if it's,
That's how it always is, man. It's a hard decision to make for publishers out there too, because they put a lot of time, they put a lot of effort, there's a lot of people and behind the scenes doing the stuff that they do, and they got to pay those people. You know, so it's like, how do you want to create the money for that to do that? I got 4 guys coming, guys. Sorry, everybody repopped on me as I.
Oh yeah, and she's got a pet break. The one thing that would be cool is if they could put, you know, and I don't think they would do it, but it would be cool if they said, quick heal incoming to you. Hopefully we're ready to mez and root. But the one thing that would be cool is say, okay, out of the guild, 50 VIPs in each one. If we have 75 in this one and 30 in this one, we're going to move some over or something. But I don't think they're going to do it that way. You know what I mean? I think they're going to let people pick the guilds they want to be in, or the worlds, or however you want to say it. You know what I mean? But it would be cool if they tried to keep it fair. You know what I mean? A little bit.
They tend not to keep it fair when it comes to... Can we not attack that anymore? I guess not. It's their pet.
Well, they let... It's not that they do it. It's they let people decide. You know what I mean? Just like Sirkin doesn't choose who's raiding what or who gets the mobs. The server decides who's first there and who's the strongest guild.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just whether you're going to let them get away with it or not.
You see the problems that creates when people get to decide. A lot of the time, the better angels of those decisions do not come out. And the only way you can really start bringing together a server in a, you know, friendly, cohesive sort of way is to have somebody step in every so often and be like, okay, that's, you know, obviously that's not working. Let's try something else, you know?
Yeah.
But when it comes to money, you know, when it comes to premium VIP packages, usually they let those people do whatever they want. That could spell doom for the rest of the server.
Well, they're not going to not sell them, is what's going to happen. You know,
I realize they're not going to
stop.
Well,
we're not selling anymore. We're out of them.
Right.
They're not going to do that. You know what I mean? That's one thing that's not going to happen.
Yeah, but if you do it too much, if you give too much preference to like a server, like, are we killing her small little pet?
No, I think he's killing the big one.
No,
oh, I don't know.
No, it's a small one.
Maybe she switched
Small
pets
one.
because she
Go
has
ahead.
a pet. Yeah, she has a pet. But I mean, you can't control if Guild A has 90 VIPs and Guild B has 10. You can't control that. You know what I mean? It's what they chose. It's what people are paying for. You know what I mean?
You can control it. They just don't want to. They don't want to regulate that because they want to increase more people paying.
Well, the only other nice thing about that is there are more than one. This game, there's more than one server. You know what I mean? There's different types of. There's like 1 year. What am I trying to say? Like 1 year seasons, 2 year seasons, eternity you know, where they don't reset for quite a while. You know what I mean? So you could pick a different place. You know what I mean? If you tried the first one for 3 months and like, God, that guild, you know, can't do nothing over there. You could go to another one, perhaps. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's definitely an option, but it really comes down to like what the community's going to be like. Because for me, that's what always makes or breaks a game. Like, the game may be great, or it may be horrible, but if the community is great, then I could stay in it a little bit longer. If the community is horrible, and no matter how good the game is, I'm just not going to play it.
Well, imagine, I mean, it's quite a different situation, but imagine being here and being like, okay, there's the easy server, there's red server, there's blue server, and let's just say P2002 was connected in some way, and you made Demiro. Let's say you tried red. Man, I really don't like this here. But they're like, well, that's okay, because after 3 months we reset and you can go try blue. You don't have to redo. You don't have to re-roll. You have to get new gear, but you don't have to re-level or whatever. And that's kind of what they're doing. So,
yeah,
kind of like that.
I hope it works out for them, man. I mean, it sounds like an interesting idea. It's going to be curious to see how that actually gets played out.
Yeah. Now, one of the things about the gear, because everyone, you know, a lot of people are like, I don't want to start all the way over. I think a lot of people are going to be starting all over when they reset the world, but they did say you can stockpile goods and like a...
and have a percentage chance of having it come back.
Yep, and then you have a percent, like say you stock 100 suits of armor, maybe you get 25 of them or maybe 50 of them. I don't know what their percentage are going to give back.
And you know they're going to have it where you can pay extra. They have like a guaranteed
the VIPs probably get an extra 10% or something. You know they will.
Or a guaranteed item. Like you'll be able to pay $50 and make sure you get like your premium items in there.
No, you know, I hope not, but it wouldn't put it past anybody. No. You know what I mean?
I saw too much of that
make
with
money
Everquest
anymore.
too. Yeah, I don't know, man. It sounds cool, but that whole like lose all your stuff just seems like a easy way to make people want to make sure that they don't. Hey, Octo, how you doing, man?
But at least you wouldn't have to worry about stats with 5,000 HP on them and 2,000 agility. You know what I mean?
Not necessarily.
Eventually. Charging the rock is up?
Mm-hmm. Second time? Third time we've killed him tonight? Loot has been sucking, though, man. We haven't gotten jack for loot tonight. No mithril breastplates, no ruined mithril bracers. Not that really any of us need anything, but, you know, just the other guys that are here, it'd be nice to get them something. Joking around.
Punk-ass clerics needs it.
Yeah, he could definitely use a ruined mithril bracer, at least on one of his.
Yeah, maybe. I got one on my druid, though. All I gotta do is transfer it over, dude.
But your druid's using it.
I mean, no, she's got one in her bag, I think, dude. Pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think she got an extra one when we were here the last time.
What are you up to, by the way, Octo? EQ crafting was awesome before they changed it. Oh, dude, EQ crafting in Everquest 2 was dangerous. If you weren't watching the... What do they call it? Like imperfections that would pop up and clicking the right buttons to help go through it, then yeah, that backlash could kill you, and it would. It killed me a couple times.
Well, you know, you could actually chain cast those imperfections, and it would speed along the actual crafting, but then you had to make sure that whenever the imperfection that was available or that was required was shown, that you had that one available.
Yeah, otherwise you got hit with it, and that could be very deadly for you.
But it seemed like chain casting was a way to get through a lot of the items faster.
I don't remember if you could do that at the very beginning. I know that was something that they, you know, changed where you could definitely do that at the, well, maybe not at the end, but, you know, somewhere around there you can start doing that.
Yeah.
Are you saying it nuked you if you failed?
No.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
It didn't nuke you. What it said is it was like a kickback or a, like if you're using the loom, it would... What was the phrasing, Cypher? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I know you get hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it would kick back at you. If you were using like the potions, they would like explode in your face. If you were using the blacksmithing, you would get burned. Each one had its own saying of what it would do to you, but basically it's getting across the point that you weren't paying attention to what you were doing. You didn't hit the critical fail or success at the right time. Some of them were worse than others too, because you had like minor imperfections, and then you had like critical imperfections, and if you got those, you finish the item so much quicker. You know, you got a boost or a bonus for getting it right. But the opposite side of that was you got hurt so much more too.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would go in there and they would craft for, you know, 20, 30, 40 minutes, maybe sometimes longer. And if you failed a lot of like small imperfections in a row and didn't pay attention to your health, you could die just from like the small hits because you didn't heal up because you're standing while you're doing that kind of thing.
That might make that more interesting for anybody that really likes crafting, you know what I mean?
I thought it was
more dangerous.
Yeah, because it was kind of like, you know, going out and killing. You had that sense of danger there with you. You got to pay attention to what you were doing. But some people like to, like nowadays, you can just go in there. You don't even have to add the recipe one at a time. Like with the other one, you had to actually drop the item in there, single-like. Now you can just click the recipe and click the button, and it does like an auto thing. And you can even have it where it does like multiples, like 10 or 100 or 150 or something ridiculous. And then walk away and come back, and it's all done for you.
That's, live is not like that. Auto combine or something button. I forget what it's called.
And you don't need the recipe or anything.
You need the recipe, but you can it's like a Google. You type in like Celestial Healing X, 10, and then it'll come up, tell you what you need. You go buy it, you come back, it'll highlight it whether it's red or green, whether you have it in your inventory or not, and then you just hit auto combine. And if you make 500, it'll combine 500. It'll do them one at a time. I think. I don't think it just goes click and they're done. I think you have to sit there
does them one at a time.
Yeah,
but you don't have to push the button over and over again, or move
that's how you
things through the window.
That's how I power leveled my my poison making. So I just go buy this one thing that was 200 and it's like 205, with a skill, and I'd start at level 1 skill, and I would just leave it. I would put enough stuff in my bags that it would combine several hundred times, and then come back and I'd be at like 150, get more of the stuff, and finish out to the 205, and then start on the next stuff.
Doing good playing some of my mom's potato PC. How you guys doing? That's from Octo. Doing pretty good. I think everybody's gotten some experience. I think, Nano, you've gotten a level tonight, right?
I got a ding, and I am almost 80% into the next level, man.
Holy crap, dude. What about you, Cypher? How close are you?
I am 40% from level, but I'm not going to be up for very much longer.
How close were you when you logged on this guy?
I have no clue, but I did count that I was at least 50 whenever I logged on.
Oh, okay. And what about you, Choops?
28% left.
Nice. And you were what when you came in here, about beginning of the level?
Nah, like maybe 36, something like that. Maybe 30.
It's a pretty decent experience. We wanted to do bats and bugs today, but unfortunately, about 2 seconds after we got here, we got trained by somebody who ended up taking bats and bugs. So, yeah, they were in a very big rush to get there before we were, and they have stayed here the whole time. It's been one of those nights, but everything else has been going pretty good, except no loot. All the loot sucked tonight.
You got a level, didn't you?
I did, yeah, but I was at like 98% when we came in, so like that was going to be a pretty much guarantee.
We'll allow it.
Let's see. I got 100 version on Pantheon like 2 years ago. Can't wait. What, you are kind of in the same boat that me and Cypher, and then seems like it's been a while, hasn't it, Cypher? Like, what's it been, man?
What?
Like, how long ago did we get our Pantheon subscription? Like, he's saying he got his 2 years ago. Yeah, it's been a long time, man.
Been a long time, been.
Oh. Shouldn't have left you. That beat the steps.
See, you guys are better than me, because I'd just be steaming the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
I kind of was at the beginning. Like, everybody... The only reason I found out about the game is from the P99 community. They were the ones talking about it on the stream. They're like, oh, this is a new game coming out. So I went in there, I got it, thinking like, oh, okay, this Christmas, this is what they're saying on their thing. This Christmas, they're going to open it up. I can't wait, can't wait. It's 3 months away. Christmas came along, didn't happen. Then they were like, oh, we pushed it back to the first quarter. First quarter came along, didn't happen. Then they were like, oh, well, maybe next Christmas. You know, like they pushed it back even further than that. And I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to stop thinking about it. You know, like just, like, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And the money was already gone. You know, like the money's already been paid off into it, so.
Yeah. I don't know how they get away with that kind. I don't like that kind of stuff, man. But it is what it is.
I hope it will be fun. I hope it's soon. I know they just went into pre-alpha recently. Yeah, but pre-alpha is something ridiculous. It's like the $10,000 one or something.
Yep.
So they must have like 2 players running around. I can't imagine there's that many people paid $10,000, dude. I mean,
there's people who paid it.
That's a lot of money.
Well, as $10,000 or $1,000 a month, which is $12,000. I don't understand that.
Yeah, because there's a big difference between $10,000 and $12,000. Well, I mean, there is a big difference, but I mean, it's still freaking $10,000, dude. Like it's a used car. I don't know, like 1/10 or 1/12 of a house. Like, however you want to look at it. It's a honeymoon.
Yeah.
It's like one semester of a college student. I don't know, man. It's still like that's a lot of money.
I mean, if you're going to an Ivy League, yeah.
Nah, I was thinking of like Rice University here in Houston. It's pretty expensive. Everything keeps going up every year, man. My niece is getting ready to graduate from high school next year, and she's thinking about all the places she wants to go. She's in the top 3% of her school, and she got some award when she was in like grade school. It says, you know, if she keeps up I think in the top 7%, she's guaranteed a scholarship that will pay for most. But I think one of the caveats is you have to go to a school in Texas, and I don't think she wants to go to a school in Texas. I think she has her eyes set on MIT. So great for her. I never would have gotten to MIT.
Nice.
But it's nice, but freaking expensive, dude.
She apply for grants and scholarships during the year?
Not yet. They say you have to wait closer to the end of the year before you can get into those now. But she
depends on the ones it depends on the ones you want to do, though.
See, I don't know. Like I don't know that much about those things because they've changed so much. But
if you've already been accepted to a school, there's some certain grants and scholarships out there that will allow you to apply early.
I don't think she's been accepted yet. I think she has the idea of where she wants to go, but like she still has her last year to do. They were telling her that she didn't actually have to come in for the last year. She's already pretty much graduated. I think she needs to take one class, which is like something bogus, like health or something. But the rest of them are just going to be college credits because she's an AP and everything. So, like, way smarter than I was. Way smarter than I was.
Pretty smart to go to MIT.
Yeah. Well, I think she's had her eyes set on that school for a long time, so she's been pushing herself.
Yeah.
I hope it happens, man. But, you know, like the price range, dude. That's why we were talking about, like, the $10,000. So many things you could use that for better than playing a video game. But
yeah,
make your own video game for $10,000.
Those are the people making, you know, $100,000 a year, dude, or more than that, you know?
Or stupid people getting money from somewhere and not knowing what to do with it, and they just, oh, well, come on, pay this for the game.
I don't know. Even if I was making $100,000, I'd still wouldn't spend it on a video game.
If you're making $100,000, you probably have some better ideas as to where to put your money.
Yeah.
The 10 grand people are the people that are no kidding. They believe in this and they want to see it.
I mean, if I'm gonna make something back on the other end of it, you know, like if I'm an investor.
Yeah. Who knows?
But not just to like give you money.
Not just to get here you go, man. Good luck. Don't snort it all.
Can't they buy stock or something instead of I don't know.
Right? Yeah. Give me stock in the video game.
If the company's public. That's what Kickstarters are for, right?
Yeah, if it's the right Kickstarter. Some of them just want the money.
Mm-hmm. We should do one.
For what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's this idea?
I don't know. We'll just make something and be like, oh, it fell through, guys. Sorry.
I mean, I'm making a video game, but I don't think I would get anybody to Kickstart me. I mean, it doesn't really require any money. It's just time.
Octo would.
Yeah, right. Let's see why you would Kickstart. So you guys royalties on the game when it doesn't sell.
All right, you see what the enchanter put?
Let's kill the next time it breaks. Oh, okay. I gotta go in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll probably take off too, man. It's getting late here.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end the group here in about 10 minutes. You hire me for your game.
Chipper can heal. He's healing half the time.
No, actually, it's a good idea because it is 10 o'clock. And I need to get my booty sleep, you know, because I need all the booty sleep I can get.
Did you say booty?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
sure.
he did.
Booty sweat?
Booty sleep?
Booty sweat. Booty sweat.
Did you say get booty sweat?
It's this dude drink, man. Booty sweat.
Are you playing with no shirt on, Chiba?
Got my ring on, too. I'm not talking about my fingers, you know what I'm saying?
He has
If you
like,
like it, then you better put a ring on it.
he has like 200 views right now.
Damn.
No, I think the enchanter was talking about it earlier. The dude went down to like 1 from 207 to 1, something like that.
Yeah, it had to be bots. Maybe he was testing them out to see if they worked.
His server crashed, man. He had a huge following yesterday too. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? I clicked on it thinking, it's a new streamer, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just click on?
Just him standing there with a shirt on.
Did he ever put the game up, dude?
He's got like 2 cameras, right? One is in front of him. The other one's kind of up, elevated above his shoulder, and you can barely see the monitors.
So he just wants you to see like he has no shirt.
I don't know. I have no clue. It's not like this dude's freaking The Rock or anything, you know?
No, he's not The Rock. Just saying. He's not The Rock.
It's the kindest way I've ever heard ananybody to say that you're not in shape. Is you're not The Rock.
Well, he's not obese. He's skinny.
I'm just saying, like, that was the most kindest way I've ever heard it ever put. It's amazing. I love you guys.
Oh, heal the enchanter, dude. Do your job. Do your job.
Oh, I'm killing the thing, dude. I'm stunning it. You know what I mean?
You hired me for your game. I want to get into messing with Unity, though. The program I was using was...
Unity!
Unity looks cool, dude. It takes a long time. There's so many different aspects to that, but... so much more you can do with it.
I'm glad you're using your mana wisely, Nonal.
I'm stunning, dude, that way, you know, because I'm a stunning guy. You know what I'm saying?
It's slow. There's no need to stun it. You good.
Stunning, dude. I'm stunning. Yeah,
Stunning Steve Austin.
I'm taking my shirt off. I'm stunning.
But you don't have pants on right now, so your shirt would go well.
Oh, if you wear no pants and you have a shirt on, works out pretty good, dude. Depends on how long the shirt is.
I mean, Cypher's got no pants.
Look at, yeah, dude. What? Come on, dude. Let's all here. Cypher, you want to wear my pants?
Cypher's got like a baboon's ass, so that's kind of weird.
Cypher.
What the hell is that, dude? What are you doing?
Do you wanna...
Why are you flat? Man, it's like nightgown, baboon ass.
Kill me, your smalls. Put them. Jason P.
Cypher loves his pants. What are you guys talking about?
I gave Cypher my pants. Let's see what those look like. Put those on. Oh, hey now.
Yeah,
Better.
Shane.
Yeah.
Still kind of naked in the back.
It looks weird.
Open the front.
It looks weird, man.
Open the front.
Yeah, it's no
Looks
longer
like,
assless chaps, it's crotchless chaps.
He's got that P flap going. You know what it looks like actually with his leather pants on? His legs look like a G.I. Joe figure or something like that.
Yeah.
A
Like the
little
rubber
bit.
bands broke.
Yeah.
I kind of like them better than what you're wearing right now. No offense, dude. Don't take it the wrong way. Can you wear Kylon, dude? Out of, or whatever that is? Out of, yeah.
Those race or
Howling Stone? I don't know if halflings can wear Kylon or not. I know humans can.
He's a half elf.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I'm just making sure you said halfling.
Oh, that's I meant half elf.
Oh, I thought he was human.
No, he's
No, he's got the RoboCop helm.
yeah. He's a mixture. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, he's, you know,
He's blended.
stuff.
Such a bad movie.
He's getting them scholarships is what he's getting.
Hey, you know, the prices are high, so anyway you can get it.
Bro. You ain't lying, I'll tell you that much.
Just look weird, dude.
Why are you doing that, man?
Octo says, what the F was the streamer in EQ today? I have to leave town for a week or two, and Twitch goes to the crapper. Yeah, we were just talking about that a minute ago. Guy with no shirt on, man.
AC's next, dude.
Yeah, I was going to do it with no pants on, but apparently Twitch has rules against that.
AC's got to show us his nipple ring
Whoa.
and his belly button tattoo.
It's
Oh, do you have one of them?
It's a Cookie
Do you have
Monster.
one of them belly button tattoos where it's like your belly button and then there's like a flower around it to make your belly button like look like
It's the
it's
sun.
sprouting?
I would
It's either the
definitely be a
sun-
flower child.
It's either the sun or the eye of Ra. Depends if he flexes or not.
Those are my favorite.
I was going to say it looked like a flower at first, now it's more like a pancake, but...
And then there's like a little treasure trail going down the.
It looks like
you know.
looks like runny eggs.
Ow. That's not it.
It's the Cookie Monster. That way, when I'm eating chips and stuff and they fall into my belly button, you know, it makes sense.
Nom 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 nom.
It's the most gross thing I can think of. We're all neckbeards, so gotta neckbeard it up.
You're all neckbeards.
I don't really have a neckbeard. You guys seen what I look like.
It could be like you know how women get makeup tattooed on their face so they don't have to do their makeup. You get neck beard tattooed on your neck so you don't have to like worry about it all the time.
It's kind of like Joe Dirt. He's like, you don't even have to shave like that. It just comes in all redneck like for you.
Oh my goodness.
I got my neck beard permanent tattooed, so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, I was just jealous because he gets patches.
I got patches on my ass.
Oh my god.
Oh, hey.
Huh? Wait, there's a thing about that on Twitch. We're not allowed to talk about that. Never mind.
Is there?
I don't know. Are you allowed to talk about ass hair on Twitch?
I think so. I don't think there's anything special
It's AC's channel, man. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Well, because they just said today they changed the policy, so there's no you can't talk about drugs, illegal ones, and you can't talk about hurting yourself.
They changed it. Actually, they changed it last week.
Yeah, and you can't get so drunk on your channel that it would seem like you're harming yourself.
There's a lot of stuff, dude. Like Burrito and a bunch of other streamers are hosed.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they're hosed, but they're
they're hosed.
They have to cut back on their drinking a little bit, I think.
We need to talk to Shariki before he gets on here again.
Because it was only self-harm is the way they phrased it. Like, if it seems like you're doing self-harm to yourself, you can't do it.
Or violence for somebody else, too, though.
Right. But, oh, does he do that?
Because the notes... No. But he starts throwing shit everywhere.
I can still remember the stream where he had his wife's coffee cup and he like was twirling it around like thinking about it and then he smashed it. And but then the funny thing is I watched him the next day and his wife was like, "Where's that cup at?"
Oh my goodness.
He came clean with it.
Too
But
funny.
it was funny. I guess it shouldn't be funny, but it was funny.
You guys ready for that?
I gotta head out.
All right.
Does
I'm
anybody
getting
have their druid nearby?
Mine can be here. If I might crash when I walk over, but I can be here. If anybody wants support.
Yeah,
we got fight out.
No, I mean, everything's pretty much dead.
Yeah, I can get him here or her here. If they didn't change her name.
That's the wrong way.
If they change her name, I'm deleting her as soon as I log her in.
You guys are... Make sure you get your bracelets and stuff off of her.
I'm deleting her. As soon as her name's changed, I'm deleting her. Like, I'll show you guys.
Yeah, that would show.
Oh, I guess I got to get my stuff ready to go, huh?
I'll delete all this stuff from the server. And then there'll be one less on this server.
Thank goodness. That means that I'll be the guild leader for Uber Ports?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not handing it over. I'm just deleting her. You'll be an officer.
Forever.
Forever. Getting back together.
Which I guess is as good as a leadership.
Yes. I think he rolls his eyes at the guild. He's not buying into it. He's not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Who's that?
You.
Oh.
I started running. I didn't get the so's.
That's cool.
Yeah.
For those of you two that are in our group, guys, thanks for coming out and joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure to have you guys here with us. As for all of you guys who are watching, definitely want to thank you guys for coming out. We should be streaming more tomorrow if the guys are on, and sometime this week, I'm hoping maybe around Thursday or Friday, we'll be streaming some new games. I got about another 20 games that I want to give a shot to. I don't know how many of them are going to be good, so just be prepared for a few stinkers to be mixed in there with the rest of them. But hopefully we'll get enough of them to make it worthwhile for you guys.
You say stinkers?
Stinkers.
We got bloody boobs last time. That was the biggest stinker of all of them.
I really don't want to know about it, I don't think.
It was horrible, dude. It was horrible. Oh my god, fire goblins. What is wrong with you? You pick up my cleric, he can't do anything about it. You click on my warrior, I'm gonna smack you in your face.
Alright.
There you go. Now leave me alone.
Why is it you get attacked no matter where you go, dude? I don't understand.
It's my cologne, they love it. I'm just so sexy.
I believe that.
It's because I'm not wearing any pants and they know it.
It's all that stuff from the crack of his ass. They think it's berries.
Whoa.
It's the biggest berries I've ever seen.
Look at the size of this watermelon.
I need to go see a doctor for that one.
Getting back. I'll log the druid on if you need a port, dude.
Yeah, please. I need to get to EJ.
Alright, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Yep.
Subscribe, follow.
Don't wear
Shirtless Sundays.
Twitch naked.
Hey guys, and welcome to the disembodied voice of AC Gamer. We are definitely going to be doing a lot more series in the future, but here are a few of them that you guys might find interesting. Of course, you're more than welcome to check them out. I would love to hear your comments. Again, if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe. It's definitely the indicator that I use to tell if you guys want to see more videos like that, of that particular game style, of that series in the long run. So when you guys leave comments down, it helps me decide whether we should keep doing it, as well as whether you want to see games like that in the future. And here are a few of them right here. I kind of picked out a few of different genres. We will be doing spotlights for other YouTubers in the future. So if you want to get a little shout out, definitely let me know. If you group with me, chances are you will get a shout out in here eventually. But for now, these are just 4 series that I have that I feel like could use a little bit more attention, and that you guys might actually enjoy as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will definitely catch you all next time.